All right, so are you ready to dive into some fascinating data?
Oh, always.
Today we're tackling German household wealth.
Right.
We've got a recent German news article
Interesting.
and a lively Reddit discussion
Yeah.
to get a handle on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, it's a lot more interesting than it might sound at first.
Yeah.
What really caught my eye was this idea that Germans are statistically wealthier than ever before.
Okay.
But is that the whole story? Are everyday Germans really feeling that wealth?
Right.
Let's dig in and see what we can uncover.
Yeah. Sounds good. It is intriguing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're seeing these headlines about record-breaking household wealth.
Uh-huh.
A whopping 9.3 trillion in 2024. Almost a 6% increase from the previous year.
Hold your horses. I'm already sensing a butt coming.
Well, you know me, always looking for the nuance.
Right.
We have to remember that 9.3 trillion is a nominal figure.
Okay.
It doesn't account for that pesky thing called inflation, which can make a big difference in terms of actual purchasing power.
Yeah, true.
Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
A loaf of bread costing a €1 today might cost like 1.10 euro next year because of inflation,
Yeah.
even though your income hasn't changed.
Right.
So that 6% increase in wealth might actually be smaller in real terms.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But are things at least trending in the right direction?
It seems so.
Okay.
Economist Michael Stample
Okay.
predicts continued growth,
Mm-hmm.
projecting another potential 4% rise
Okay.
to 9.8 trillion in 2025.
All right.
Of course, market fluctuations
Yeah.
could always,
Right.
throw a wrench in the works.
Yeah, of course.
But the overall outlook appears positive.
Okay. I'm starting to see why they call Germany an economic powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the secret sauce behind this wealth surge?
One major factor is their impressive savings rate.
Okay.
Germans are putting away a hefty 11.5% of their disposable income.
Wow.
That's almost double the average for developed countries.
Bro.
Yeah, puts them right up there with the Swiss and the Dutch,
Yeah.
known for their frugality.
Wow. That's commitment.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, though, is it purely cultural? Or are
Yes.
there other factors at play?
It's definitely a complex mix.
Yeah.
Germany has a long history of economic stability
Mm-hmm.
and a strong social safety net,
Yeah.
which might contribute to a sense of security and encourage saving.
Right.
And we can't forget about historical events like hyperinflation
Oh, yeah.
in the 1920s,
Right.
which had a lasting impact on German attitudes towards money.
Makes sense.
It's ingrained in their culture to be prepared for a rainy day.
Right. You know what's really interesting?
With that,
We came across this anecdote on Reddit
okay.
from a bank employee
Mhm.
who saw a wave of people
Mhm.
with like 5 to 6 figure sums opening interest-bearing accounts
Oh, wow.
when interest rates started rising.
Okay.
That suggests there's a whole pool of hidden wealth that doesn't show up in traditional economic indicators.
Absolutely.
Doesn't it?
It really highlights how data can sometimes paint an incomplete picture.
Right.
It makes you wonder how much wealth is actually out there,
All right.
just waiting for the right conditions to be activated.
It's like a hidden treasure chest.
Yeah.
And speaking of changes,
Mm-hmm.
the article also mentioned a shift in investment trends.
Okay.
Apparently, around 9.4% of German household wealth is directly invested in stocks.
Interesting.
And this sector saw significant growth in 2024.
That's right.
Okay.
Rising interest rates,
Yeah.
fixed term deposits,
Okay.
where you lock your money away for a set period at a guaranteed interest rate,
Mm-hmm.
are becoming attractive again.
Okay.
People are moving away from low-yield savings accounts in search of better returns.
So fixed-term deposits are like those certificates of deposit you
Yeah,
have here.
exactly.
CDs.
Yep.
A way to earn a little extra without taking on too much risk.
Right.
But isn't there a downside to locking your money away like that?
Sure.
What if you need it before the term is up?
That's a valid point.
Yeah.
You lose some flexibility,
Right.
and there's always the risk of inflation eroding the value of your investment.
Right.
If rates rise significantly during the fixed term,
Okay.
it's a trade-off between security and potential for higher returns.
So we're seeing Germans benefiting from both a high savings rate
Uh-huh.
and a savvy shift in investment strategies.
Yeah.
It all seems pretty positive, right?
On the surface.
Okay.
But as we dug into that Reddit forum,
Yeah.
we found a lot of skepticism about these rosy average wealth figures.
Okay.
People are questioning whether this wealth is truly trickling down to everyone.
Now things are starting to get interesting.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we're about to uncover some cracks in this seemingly perfect facade.
Uh-huh.
Let's hear what those Redditors had to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. It's a classic case of, Averages can be deceiving.
Right.
One user put it bluntly. This average wealth figure is a fairy tale. The top 0.5% are swimming in cash, while the rest of us are struggling to keep our heads above water.
Wow. That's a pretty stark contrast. Sounds like they're arguing that this rising tide of wealth isn't lifting all boats.
Exactly. Another user pointed out that focusing solely on income doesn't give us the whole picture.
Right.
They said you need to look at assets, things like real estate and investments, to understand the true distribution of wealth.
Okay.
And they have a point.
Yeah.
Someone might have a high income but be drowning in debt,
Yeah.
while another person might have a modest income but own a valuable property.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So if the average wealth figure is misleading, what's a better way to measure how wealth is actually distributed in Germany?
Well, economists often use the median instead of the average.
Okay.
The median represents the middle value in a data set,
Hmm.
meaning half of the values are higher and half are lower.
Yeah.
It's less susceptible to being skewed by extreme values at the top or bottom.
Okay. That makes sense. So what does the median wealth look like in Germany?
Unfortunately, it's not always easy to find reliable data on median wealth.
Oh.
It's more complex to calculate than average wealth,
Yeah.
and data collection methods can vary across countries.
Right.
But even with limited data, it's pretty clear that there's a significant wealth gap in Germany,
Okay.
just like in many other developed economies.
So how is this wealth gap playing out in German society?
Yeah.
What are the social and political implications of this divide?
Well, if we jump back into that Reddit forum,
Yeah.
we can see those concerns playing out in real time.
Hmm.
There's a lot of discussion about generational wealth,
Right.
with younger users expressing frustration about the challenges they face in building their own financial futures.
Yeah, I saw a lot of comments about how difficult it is for young people to get ahead, even if they're working hard and saving diligently.
Exactly. One user wrote,
Okay.
I feel like I'm running on a treadmill.
Oh,
I'm working my tail off, but between rising rent, sky-high energy costs, and increasing Social Security contributions,
right.
I'm barely making ends meet, let alone saving for down payment or investing for the future.
Yeah, it sounds like they're feeling the squeeze from all sides.
Yeah,
And this is in a country with a robust social safety net, right?
that's right. Germany has a strong welfare system compared to many other countries,
Yeah.
providing a safety net for those in need.
Mm-hmm.
But even with those social programs,
Yeah.
there's a growing sense of anxiety,
Right.
particularly among younger generations,
Okay.
about whether they'll be able to achieve the same level of financial security as their parents or grandparents.
Feels like the rules of the game have changed, but nobody told them.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And this is where the political debate gets heated.
Okay.
Some people are calling for higher taxes on wealth and inheritance to address this inequality.
Okay.
The idea is to redistribute wealth and create more opportunities for those who haven't benefited as much from the economic boom.
Makes sense. So what are the arguments against these types of policies?
Well, opponents argue that higher taxes could discourage investment and economic growth.
Right.
They worry that wealthy individuals and companies might move their money and operations to countries with lower tax burdens,
Yeah.
ultimately hurting the German economy.
Ah, the classic capital flight argument.
Right.
It's a tricky balance, isn't it?
It is.
You want to address inequality,
Yeah,
but you also don't want to stifle economic growth.
exactly. And it's not just about economics.
Right.
There are philosophical debates about individual responsibility versus societal obligation.
Yeah.
Some people believe that wealth is primarily a result of hard work and smart decisions,
Mm-hmm.
while others emphasize the role of luck, privilege, and systemic factors in shaping economic outcomes.
Right. It sounds like we've stumbled into a real philosophical minefield here.
It is a tricky one.
On one hand, you have this idea that success is earned through hard work and individual initiative. But then on the other, you have this argument that systemic factors and societal structures play a huge role in determining who gets ahead. It makes you wonder how much control we really have over our own financial destinies.
It's a question that has plagued philosophers and economists for centuries,
Yeah.
and there's no easy answer.
Yeah.
It's likely a combination of both individual choices and societal forces.
Yeah, I think so too.
But that's what makes this discussion so important.
Yeah.
It challenges us to examine our assumptions and consider different perspectives.
Absolutely. So where does this leave us? We've uncovered this intriguing paradox.
Okay.
German household wealth is at a record high.
Yeah.
But there's the simmering discontent beneath the surface.
Right.
Many Germans, especially younger generations, are questioning whether this prosperity is truly shared
Yeah.
and whether hard work alone is enough to guarantee a comfortable future.
That's a great summation.
Thanks.
And it raises some important questions for our listeners.
Yeah, for sure.
As we think about our own financial goals and aspirations, how do we define prosperity?
Right.
Is it simply about accumulating wealth?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it more about achieving a sense of security, well-being, and opportunity?
You know, that's a really thought-provoking question.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the numbers, the size of our bank accounts, the value of our investments.
Right.
But ultimately, what matters most is how those numbers translate into a meaningful and fulfilling life.
Precisely. And that's why it's so important to have these conversations about wealth inequality and economic opportunity.
Yeah, I agree.
By understanding the forces shaping these trends both on a societal and individual level, we can make more informed choices and advocate for policies that create a fairer and more prosperous future for everyone.
Well said. This deep dive into German household wealth has certainly given us a lot to ponder.
It has.
We've seen how economic indicators can sometimes mask complex realities. And we've heard diverse perspectives on the social and political implications of the wealth gap. It's a reminder that the economic landscape is constantly evolving and that we need to stay informed and engaged in order to navigate these complexities effectively.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Absolutely. And that's what the deep dive is all about. Empowering you, the listener, with knowledge and insights to make sense of the world around you.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this episode,
Sure.
we want to leave you with one final thought-provoking question to ponder.
Right.
If wealth continues to concentrate at the top, what are the implications for social mobility and the future of the German economy? How might individual choices and societal structures need to adapt to ensure everyone has the opportunity to build a secure and fulfilling financial future?
Those are questions worth reflecting on indeed.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into German household wealth.
That was fun.
We hope you found it informative, engaging, and maybe even a little bit challenging.
For sure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those tough questions.
Sounds good.